Good day, life science learners. What a beautiful day to be looking at reproductive strategies. My name is Mrs. Vuma, and I'll be taking you through this chapter. If you look at the lesson map, you will see that we've got different aspects that we will address. Just have a look at them nicely. We will unpack them as we proceed. At the end of this lesson, we have got objectives that we are going to achieve. Some of the objectives are extracting information from a passage, diagram, and graph, identifying reproductive strategy of the example given, analyzing of information is also key, prediction of the reproductive success. We are going to be achieving that when we finish our lesson. These are the keywords that you need to know. You know, life sciences has its specific language. You must know the terminology. You also need to know the definitions that are given. So, very crucial, keep an eye on ovipary, keep an eye on vivipary, and keep an eye on ovovivipary. More is coming. This is more of the list, the keywords that you are supposed to know. Also on this, I want you to, at the back of your mind, remember precocial development, remember altricial development. We all went through grade 10 and 11, and there must be a clear understanding of biodiversity in animals. We have learned about this. So this is a build-up in grade 12. Grade 12 has more flesh now, unlike grade 11 and grade 10. And the two grades were giving us the foundation. When we look at reproductive strategies, there are common errors that we pick up and misconceptions. You know, some of the challenges are that learners are not able to extract relevant information from the passage, diagram, and graphs. They cannot identify reproductive strategies. Learners cannot link theory covered in class and the typical example that is given on a question paper. They are also unable to predict effect of reproductive strategies and what they have on the future reproductive success. These are the exam writing competencies. You need to be in a position to relate to the question that you are addressing in the examination room. Critical thinking, for example, when you get a question, you must think. Think out of the box. You are also supposed to manage your time well so that you don't dwell more on easier questions and you waste time which you are supposed to use on lengthy, difficult questions that need you to have your prior research skills or reading skills. And on that note, let us go to our ad break. We are going to resume soon. Welcome back from our ad break. I hope that you found some time to reflect on what we are going to work on today. So we are looking at different places where fertilization occurs. You'll see we've got internal fertilization. We also have got external fertilization. This is part of our reproductive strategies. So we know that in most cases, learners are unable to interpret examples and apply knowledge in a new situation. So they cannot identify reproductive strategies in cases given and could not explain reason for reproductive success. So we are going to be now looking at external fertilization. Remember earlier on we mentioned internal, external fertilization. External fertilization occurs outside the female body, and usually it happens in water. But there is a problem. Who can guess what the problem is? Okay. 1, fertilization is not certain. So if fertilization takes place outside, there is no confirmation beyond reasonable doubt that fertilization will occur. Another challenge is that many eggs and sperm cells, they need to be produced. There must be high numbers because we don't have certainty of fertilization. When we look at internal fertilization, this occurs inside the female body. Just check the two. External, it's outside the female body. Internal fertilization, inside the female body. There is a problem, just like in external fertilization. And what is the problem? Male needs a special organ for transferring sperms. And besides this problem, we have got a benefit. And the benefit that we have is that fertilization here, it's more certain because fewer eggs and sperms need to be produced. Why do we say fertilization is more certain? Because we have got fertilization that is happening inside the female body. So it is safe there. Let us look at the different ways in which the embryo develops and how it is fed. We are looking at ovipary and we look at vivipary. We also look at ovovivipary. Somebody out there is saying, oh, it is overwhelming. They sound the same, but they are all different. In order to get your marks, you need to differentiate them correctly because that's where your marks are lying. Ovipary, vivipary, ovovivipary. Practice also to say it correctly. Then your correct spelling will follow. Interesting, isn't it? Let us look at where embryo develops in terms of different organisms. Ovipary. Ovipary, eggs with yolk released from female and develop outside the body, often in water. We can relate this to external fertilization because the eggs are laid there outside. And the problem with ovipary is that eggs can be eaten by other animals. So if we speak about eggs being eaten by other animals, we are talking about predators. Predators. You've got a good background on predation. So when eggs are laid outside, in ovipary, they can be eaten by predators. Ovovivipary. Ovovivipary. Now here in ovovivipary, let me get rid of this predator quickly. Good. Ovovivipary, eggs with yolk are produced, but they develop inside the female body until they hatch, when they appear to be born alive. So the difference between ovipary and ovovivipary is that ovipary, it's outside, ovovivipary, it's eggs, but now they are inside the female body. The benefit of ovovivipary is that eggs are protected. So because they are inside the female body, they are safe. They are always protected. Vivipary, this is the third one. Vivipary, embryo develops inside the female body and it's fed from placenta and is born alive. We know placenta, it's for mammals, human beings. They conceive, they carry their young ones inside. It's a practical example of vivipary. Please note the three: ovipary, ovovivipary, vivipary. Know the differences. The benefit of vivipary is that embryo is protected inside mother's body and obtains food from the mother. It obtains food from the mother. So check it out. Ovipary, eggs are laid outside. Ovovivipary, eggs are kept inside. Vivipary is the embryo. There's no egg involved here. And it's inside the female body. Let us check the types of eggs that we have. We have got amniotic egg and we've got non-amniotic egg. You remember what you have learned earlier on? You need to know the structure of the amniotic egg, how to draw and label it, and you also need to know the functions thereof. Amniotic egg, it's large with several benefits. So let's have a look at the benefits of the amniotic egg. It has got a protective covering or a shell, and it has got, the embryo is enclosed in a membrane, which is called the amnion. This is also familiar for you. There's plenty of yolk and albumin providing food for nourishment, and amniotic egg can be laid on land. If you look at the diagram here, it's showing us a good example of our amniotic egg. Non-amniotic egg, at the other hand, it's small with few benefits. It's covered in thin jelly-like coating, little yolk for food, and it needs to be laid in water or it will dry out. Keep what I'm saying at the back of your mind because very soon you'll find something that is going to relate to this. We have got an example of non-amniotic eggs. Yeah, you can see it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. They have got jelly coatings. They are not like these ones, which you can see the shells nicely. You can see the shells here. They are strong and firm for protection. There are two ways in which the young ones develop: precocial development and altricial development. You need to remember what to say based on this. So we spoke about the development of the young ones, when they are hatched or when they are born. Precocial and altricial development. Precocial development, young are born. Very important for you to remember, they are well developed and can move and feed almost immediately. This is precocial development. The benefit of this is that they are able to do what? They can run away from danger and feed themselves. Two advantages here. They can run away from danger, the predators that we mentioned earlier on, and they can also feed themselves. Altricial development, at the other hand, it is the opposite of precocial development. Young are born, hatched, undeveloped, and need much parental care. Class, obviously you can start telling me between these two diagrams, 1 and 2, which one is precocial and which one is altricial. So let's crack it. Diagram 1 is an example of altricial development. Examples are birds like doves, see? So the small one is born, you can see it's frail, it's not able to run around, it's depending on the mother to go look for food and feed it until it's able to fly out of the nest. Diagram 2 here is the small chick. Small chicks, they are born able to start walking around. They start following their mother and they can fend for themselves. Okay, class, let us quickly go for our ad break. We will come and carry on. This is interesting, isn't it? See you soon. Welcome back, learners. As we were still busy with our reproductive strategy, let us now tap on how much parental care occurs in different organisms. So when we speak of parental care, look at this dog here. And the small puppies, all of them, they are very close to their mommy. When we speak of parental care, amount of parental care will increase the chances of young surviving to adulthood, meaning fewer young need to be produced. It cannot be thousands. It cannot be hundreds. It must be a controlled number. The longer the period of parental care, the greater the survival chances of offspring. I want you to think of something. Small babies, how long do they need parental care before they are able to start looking for milk to make cereal for themselves? So there's a longer time for parental care. Therefore, parental care increases reproductive success. Keep this in mind. So if we look at all these pieces of a puzzle, how do they fit together? Let us have a look. So we're looking at external fertilization, external, outside the body. Just remember, this is always oviparous and eggs have no shell, therefore they are not well protected. And a large number of eggs must be produced. Many eggs are produced where in external fertilization. Each egg can't have much yolk, and this means that the young are small when they are hatched. And examples of organisms where we get external fertilization, it's mostly in fish and frogs. Just remember the examples. External fertilization and the problems, the challenges with it. Fertilization is never ensured. We cannot guarantee once the eggs are laid, they will be fertilized. And why? Because of the possibility of them being eaten by predators or the possibility that they are washed off by currents if it's in water. Eggs are not protected, and young, small, and vulnerable when they hatch. They cannot run away from any form of danger. Survival rate is not good. So many eggs are hatched, they are laid, but most of them can be washed off by water currents. They can be eaten. So survival rate is not good. And there's a more need of food and energy for the few offsprings that are found. Internal fertilization. We spoke now of external fertilization. Now we are looking at internal fertilization. Something good about it is that fertilization is ensured. This can also be oviparous. Eggs with shells are laid, so they are protected. In other words, the content of the egg is protected by the shell. There's no need to produce as many eggs compared to the frogs and fish. Here, there's no need to have many eggs produced. And each egg must have more yolk. Do you remember what we spoke about? The need for the embryo to develop in the egg that is laid outside. It is feeding on the albumin and the yolk. Therefore, there must be enough yolk for the feeding or nutrition. Young are larger and more developed when they hatch, giving them a better chance of survival. They can sometimes run away from danger because they are able to walk around, they are born strong. They can also fend for themselves. If you are hungry, surviving is a challenge. And this leads to reproductive success. So there is some success that is seen in terms of reproduction. This mainly occurs in birds and reptiles. Keep that in mind. Again, internal fertilization can be ovoviviparous. So there are two folds in internal fertilization. It can be oviparous, it can also be ovoviviparous. Eggs are protected inside the mother's body. The eggs are there, the embryo develops inside the egg, but inside the mother's body. And fewer eggs need to be produced. Each egg have more yolk for development and for feeding. Each egg can have more yolk, so young are larger and more developed when they hatch, giving them a better chance of survival, leading to, again, reproductive success. It occurs mainly on some fish and reptiles. Just check. We've got different types or species of fish. We have those ones that are oviparous, but also have those ones that are ovoviviparous. So you can see that it's not a blanket statement where we can say all fish are oviparous. Just also remember that you don't get confused when you come across some questions that speak on this in your examination. Internal fertilization can also be viviparous. Young develop inside the mother. We gave an example of a human being. It's fed by the placenta, which takes food from mother's blood, and it's well protected by mother and can run away from danger. Because if a mother is pregnant, when danger comes, this mother is the one that is carrying the embryo inside, the fetus inside. So the mother can run away from danger with the developing fetus or developing embryo. So young are larger and more developed when they are born, giving them a better chance of survival. Once more, leading to a reproductive success. So fewer young need to be produced. Human beings don't give birth to thousands or hundreds or even 50. It's a few. It's normally one child at a go or two or minimal numbers that are there. We are now going back to look at our precocial development and altricial development, how they are related to the safety of the environment and amount of parental care parents can give. Precocial development, when we look at precocial development, it occurs when the environment is unsafe. So I made this cross. We cannot put crosses because it's not an examination where you fail. We are not planning to fail in this session, not at all. Occurs when environment is unsafe, and so the environment must be unsafe. Young must be able to move and feed immediately after hatching. So wherever there's danger, when they are born, if there is danger, they can fly away, they can run away from danger, and there's no need for much parental care. Altricial development, at the other hand, when the environment is safe, that's where we have this type of development. Young can be less developed when they hatch or when they are born, and they need a longer period of parental care. I hope you see the difference between the two. Now, let us look at this table. This table is giving us an overview of what we have been talking about. We've got different groups of organisms. We have got fish, there are frogs, reptiles, we've got birds, and we've got mammals. And the table is showing us the different types of fertilizations for each group of organisms. For example, look at fish. The fertilization is external, and the type of development, there are two types. It's either we have oviparous or ovoviviparous. There are two possibilities. And the number of eggs, thousands. And are the eggs protected? No, they are not protected. And there is no parental care. You look at frogs, again, fertilization is external, but development is only oviparous. The number of eggs produced, hundreds. And the protection of the eggs is jelly, and there is no parental care. Let's check the reptiles. Fertilization is internal for reptiles. It's not always internal. So it can be internal or external. But now we look at development. Oviparous or ovoviviparous? Oviparous, ovoviviparous, just like fish, we've got two possibilities. And let's check the number of eggs. 10 to 60. Can you see this decrease in the numbers? Firstly, we spoke about thousands in fish. Then we came to hundreds in frogs. Now we are talking about 10 to 60. And these ones for the reptiles, now they've got a shell. They are protected by a leathery shell. There is, again, no parental care. Now with birds, the fertilization is internal and it's only oviparous. Oviparous. Check the number of eggs, 2 to 10. The decrease is big. And what about the shell? It's a hard shell. So there is more chance of protection on the eggs. And yes, there is a need for parental care. Mammals, fertilization is internal and the development type is viviparous. Not oviparous and not ovoviviparous, but viviparous. The number of eggs, it's between 1 and 15. You can see the reducing number as well. And protection of the eggs, this takes place in the mother's body where development takes place. And indeed, there is a lot of parental care that is needed. We have got here November 2021 paper 1, question 3.5. The instruction says, read the extract below. So you can see that on the table we've got the stem of our questions that will follow. It reads thus. The bluefin tuna, the great white shark, and the bottlenose dolphin are 3 aquatic species that are found in Indian Ocean. An adult bluefin tuna releases up to 540 million eggs into the water annually, while the great white shark female produces 2 to 12 offsprings through ovovivipary every 2 years. A bottlenose dolphin female, being a mammal, is viviparous and produces 1 offspring every 2 to 3 years. You will notice that as I read the stem, I am underlining key concepts which are going to give me proper guidance as we answer our questions. Let us navigate through our first question, 3.5.1. The question says, name the type of fertilization that takes place in the bottlenose dolphin. We are naming. Therefore, this question only has 1 mark. You need to read carefully, especially how the question is phrased, because learners fail to understand the leading verb that is used in a question. And what is our answer? Who can guess? I know you know. Let us quickly see if we all got it right. The answer there is internal fertilization. What you do as you answer, you go back to the actual stem. So they're talking here about bottlenose dolphin. Can I see bottlenose dolphin? Yes, it's easy to see it on the stem because I underlined earlier on as I was reading. And they are saying to us it's viviparous. Therefore, the answer can only be internal fertilization for 1 mark. If you check, you will see that the stem is repeated just to give us guidance. 3.5.2, explain how 2 reproductive strategies of the great white shark increase its reproductive success. For how many marks? 4 marks. It is key for you to check mark allocation so that you explain. Explain is not naming. Explaining means that you must identify and you must also give reasons of what you have identified. Let us see if we are thinking of the same thing in terms of the answers. Firstly, we can see that the reproduction that takes place, the fertilization, it's internal. So it's internal fertilization, and the advantage of internal fertilization is that it increases the chance for fertilization. Then we have got our 2 marks. We have mentioned, we have identified, and we also gave a reason. Again, looking at the great white shark, we will also agree that it's ovoviviparous. And if it's ovoviviparous, the eggs are well protected. There we have got our 4 marks for our explained question. 353 for 2 marks. Explain one reason why the bluefin tuna releases a large number of eggs. Bluefin tuna. You are going to explain again. So you link the number of eggs with the survival of the offsprings. You just have to remember that. As you are writing your examination, you are using that question paper, you are highlighting, you are making note of what the question is all about so that you are able to answer and get your marks correctly. Our answer is, it increases the chance of fertilization, or maybe it increases the chance of some surviving to adulthood. We have our 2 marks for the explaining question. Always remember to refer to the stem of your question in order to get or draw answers, because some answers are based on the stem. If you miss the stem, you will definitely miss all the marks that you can get, and they will give you a good boost on your exam writing. Let us look now at another practice question, November 2023, paper 1. You can see we are bringing different types of questions from different resources, and they enrich us because that's our practice and also enrichment. Let us read again the stem of our question 2.1. In some frog species, during mating, the male climbs on the back of the female and grasps her with his front legs. During this time, the female, now let's check what the female is doing, will release about 6,000 ova. Ova is a plural form of ovum. So we say ova, these are eggs. While the male releases sperm onto them. This mating behavior is called amplexus. The first question, 2.1.1. Name the type of fertilization that occurs during reproduction in frogs. You already have your prior knowledge, so you are going to use that because you know that eggs are laid outside. Therefore, our answer for this question, the type is external fertilization, because eggs are laid. Even for this given scenario, the female is laying eggs to the outside, and the male is now sprinkling the sperm cells for fertilization to take place outside the body. Let us look now at question 2.1.2. Explain, this is explain now. For how many marks? 2 marks. Why the fertilized egg of these frogs do not survive on land? They are laid in water. Why will they not survive on land? Somebody knows the answer already. Because they don't have a shell. Remember, they are covered by gel, so they don't have a shell. and they must be in water. Otherwise, what will happen? They will dry out. So can you see? You have given us you have identified the explanation, and then you have also explained for your 2 marks. Question 213, again, it's explain how the amplexus increases the chances of fertilization in frogs. Do you remember the explanation that was given on what amplexus is? That is why we have highlighted that. It's easy for you to relate to it in order to get your 2 marks for explaining this question. Let us look at the answer. Sperms are released close to the egg because the male, remember here is the male. The male is very close. Here is the male frog. It's very close to the female. So the sperms are released close to the eggs. The female has laid its eggs. There are the eggs here which don't have a shell. They have got their jelly layer. And, sorry about that. So sperms are released very close to the egg. You have explained how amplexus increase the chances in fertilization. So we quickly jumped, we are too fast. Exciting to understand what we are answering. 214, from the information above, explain one other strategy that contributes to the reproductive success of frog species. So besides what we have, what is another strategy that contributes to the reproductive success? Many ova are released, increasing the chance of fertilization. So sometimes, because we are just given a generic answer of many, you can even say 6,000. You are allowed to give the number which was stated on the stem of this question. Let us look at this one question from May 2021, paper 1. Reproduction in guppy fish. Guppy fish have a very interesting method of breeding. During mating, the male deposits packets of sperms inside the female's reproductive opening using the organ called gonopodium. This process takes place several times, and the female stores some of the extra sperm. The fertilized eggs remain in the female body until they hatch and the young are born live. The gestation period is usually between 22 and 28 days. I'm underlining, as you underline the highlighted areas of your stem. 2, 4, 1, that's the first question. Name the type of fertilization in guppies. 1 mark. It's internal fertilization. It's internal fertilization, as you have seen from the stem. And the next question, 242, explain 2 ways in which the type of fertilization named in question 241 increases reproductive success. So we are already looking at the diagrams here. They are showing us the diagrams. Don't ignore the diagrams when you see them in the examination. Here is the male fish, here is the female fish, and the sperms are deposited in the female. So going back to the question, let us see what our answer is. The answer is that you are explaining for 4 marks. Sperm deposited in female, increasing chances of fertilization. You are supposed to explain 2 ways. So this is the first way. And the second one is, I am going to, I think my tick is misplaced. This tick should be sitting here. Okay, sperm are deposited in female, there's the tick, and then increasing the chance of fertilization. Good. And the other explanation is that embryo develops inside the female, therefore it is protected. Question 243, why are guppies regarded as being ovoviviparous? This is for 2 marks. You need to tell us. Eggs develop inside the female, and when they hatch, they appear to be born alive. Ovoviviparous, the development takes place inside the female body. Don't forget that. And then once they hatch, the young ones are born alive. Let us look at May 2017, paper 1. I said earlier on, as long as there's a diagram that is attached to the stem and the questions, the diagram is not there to decorate the question paper. The diagram will give you clear guidance of what is happening on the particular question. You need to examine the diagrams clearly, and then you check the sizes that you see on the diagram. Let us see the first question. Question 2.1 is the stem. Study the diagram of one-day-old hatchlings, A and B alongside. The diagram is not drawn to scale. So actually, these are not the actual sizes of the hatchlings. But very crucial check, you've got your A and you've got your B. So you need to know what is happening at your A and what's happening at B. 2.1.1, our first question. State two visible features in hatchling A which indicate altricial development. When we speak about visible, what to see? So you come to the diagram, you look at diagram A, and you are going to give us two visible. Visible, what you can see. Not what you know, not your prior knowledge, but what you can see. Firstly, the eyes are closed. You can see here the eyes are closed. So that is altricial development, and they cannot move. You can see once they are hatched, they are lying there helplessly, eyes are closed, waiting for the sound from mommy to bring food until they are able to grow and they can start to develop and be on their own. And check, feathers, wings are not developed. We see that there are no feathers that are found on the body. Therefore, we have got any of the two answers. This is a proof enough, visible proof enough to show us that this is altricial development. 2.1.2, the diagram represents ovipary. Explain one possible advantage of vivipary when compared to ovipary. So, in other words, you are now giving us a comparison. For vivipary as an advantage, embryo develops inside mother, so it is protected. Once the embryo is inside the mother's body, it is protected. So in other words, can you see how the examiners can play around asking simple questions in different ways? Here they want you to understand the difference between vivipary and ovipary. And as you tell us the advantage of vivipary, you are basically giving us the definition that the embryo develops inside the mother and therefore it is protected. Question 2.1.3. Oh, yes, we also have another option. Remember, this is 2 marks. It fed from mother, so can develop for longer. So in other words, once it's inside, feeding comes through the mother's blood and development can be prolonged as well. Question 2.1.3, explain why you would expect that the yolk content of the egg of hatchling B was more than of hatchling A. Look at hatchling A, look at hatchling B. We are now talking about the content of the yolk. The answer is to be so well developed, the chick will need much food. Because this chick here is able to run around. This is an example of precocial development. It has been a very good session of questions that are coming forth in different shapes, and the approach is different, and the answers are some the same. Just go and drink a little bit of water, come back because there's more to come. You cannot miss out. We are back from our ad break, and let us see if we can engage in more questions. Again, we are still dealing with reproductive strategy. Let us look at this question here, November 2019, Question 2.2. The table below shows a comparison of the composition of the amniotic egg in 3 different bird species. We've got the composition of yolk in percentage, water content in yolk, energy. Then we have got our 1, 2, 3. These are our bird species. 2 to 1. Define ovovivipary for 2 marks. As much as we are giving a definition, you need to start at familiarizing yourself with this table, because this table is going to be used, I suppose. The definition of ovovivipary is eggs are produced. Eggs are produced but hatch inside the female body and appear to be born alive. It's for 2 marks, so I gave possible 3 marks. It doesn't mean that you must split your answer. Give the full answer for your 2 marks. Question 222. Which one of the following bird species, 1, 2, or 3, most probably shows a precocial development reproductive strategy? So you're checking 1, 2, 3. And the answer there is species number 2, precocial. This is able to walk around on its own. And what is giving you a guidance? What is giving you a guidance? See the percentage of the yolk that it has. It's higher than bird number 1 and bird number 3. 2 to 3, explain your answer to question 2 to 2 for 2 marks. Whew. Mrs. Vuma was ahead of time, because now you are thinking. Remember critical thinking, looking at the question with understanding. Already you heard the answer for the next question before you even engaged on the question itself. 2 has highest percentage of yolk, so chicks can be well developed on hatching, and that is why we say it's precocial development. 2 to 4, which one of the bird species 1, 2, or 3 will possibly produce offspring requiring the highest degree of parental care? Again, you come and check 1, you look at the yolk levels, you also look at the energies. It's definitely 1. This one, it was very small. The percentage of egg yolk was very low, meaning that it needed more support when it was born. Let us look at this other practice question. The table alongside provides information about sexual reproduction in some animals. So you engage with the table. Engage with the table. We've got types of animals: trout, frog, pigeon, and jackal. We've got average number of eggs or offsprings produced per year. That's the number. We've got average surviving. We've got where development takes place. Question 1.1. Explain clearly where the jackal embryos develop and how they obtain nutrition. So we're looking at jackals here. You need to explain how they develop and how they obtain their nutrition, their food. They develop in the uterus in females and obtain food from mother's blood through the placenta. 1.2, explain the link between the number of offspring, the survival rate, and the amount of parental care given to the young. This is for 4 marks. So you must now link at the number of eggs and also the rate of survival. And you explain. If much parental care, most offspring survive, so fewer young need to be produced. So more parental care, most offspring, they survive, and then the fewer ones are produced. If there is no parental care, fewer offspring survive, so more young need to be produced. I think you can see the difference between the 2 answers of our explanation. 1.3. Compare the eggs of trout and pigeons and relate this to the number of eggs each produces. You come back and you are looking at trout and you are also looking at the pigeon. For 4 marks, let's see. Pigeons' eggs have a protective shell whereas trouts don't. So you see there's a very protective shell on the pigeon's eggs, and unfortunately this fish here doesn't have. Pigeons' eggs have a large amount of yolk, but trouts don't have, or they have a little. Not that they don't have, they have a little. There's no way that they can survive without yolk. Pigeons thus have a better chance of survival, so don't have, or they don't need to produce many eggs. You can see for 4 marks how the comparison is given. When you compare, you take what is given on the question and you work only on that. Therefore, you cannot mention frogs here, you cannot mention jackals. 1.4, on average, 14 eggs from each female frog. 14 eggs from each female frog must develop and survive till adulthood to maintain a constant population. Reproductive success. What percentage of the total number of eggs laid by one female frog in a year does this represent? Show all your workings. So your focus here, we are not talking about the other type of animals but frogs. Here is our calculation. We are looking at the percentage survival. So when we look at frogs, we are looking at the average number of surviving, which is 14. Then you take 14, you divide by the average number of eggs produced per year. And the average number here is 20,000. That's 14, which is divided by 20,000. But because we are looking for percentage, you must multiply. You need to multiply by 100. And equals to, our answer is 0.07%. Learners, don't forget to add units. You see, we've got percentage that is added here. As much as this was part of the question, sometimes you get a mark for including the unit. And on that note, we are going to go for our ad break. And before we wrap up, let's just breathe a little bit, digest what we have been working on, interesting examination practice questions. Welcome, learners, as we wrap up today. We have done a lot. Just remember our lesson map recap. We really engaged with all the branches that we have on our reproductive strategies. The keywords, remember, we engaged with them. Internal fertilization, don't forget. Internal fertilization, external fertilization, ovipary, vivipary, ovovivipary. By now, everybody can sing the definitions out, I know. And we have also looked at the amniotic egg, precocial development, altricial development, parental care, reproductive success. We are now recapping on the common errors. I know you will not make these errors because we have really and clearly finished them. Learners cannot extract relevant information from passages, diagrams, and graphs, provided we are now able to do that. Learners cannot identify the reproductive strategy described in an example. We can relate to that. Now we are able to. Cannot link the theory covered in class to explain example given. Now examples were given, we're able to link the theory. And learners were unable to predict the effect of reproductive strategies have on future reproductive success. We are now able to outline all the critical common errors that were there before we started our session. Don't forget also our foundation of answering our questions, improve the examination performance. Don't forget your reading skills. Don't forget your critical thinking. Your time management skills is key. Your communication skills are also key. Your research skills and active learning method. And we have calculated, we have seen that. So our fundamental numerical concepts and principles are also key. We have journeyed together and try this at home. We have got many other resources, but go and embark on the questions that we have on the screen, the previous papers or past papers, answer them on your own, go look for answers, and good luck. I wish you well. We've come to the end of our session. You have been a great class. Thank you. Till we meet again, bye-bye.